Hello and welcome to Blockchain Silver, the place where we analyze what in the world is going on in crypto. Today we're going to talk about Bitcoin's fourth market sequence. Warning, I'm not a financial advisor. This video is for fun and entertainment purposes only. It is best to do your own due diligence, form your own conclusions, and invest based on your opinion of the market. Cryptocurrency markets are highly speculative and may lose value. Be safe out there. So what we're looking at today, we're going to look at some market fractals. These are just reoccurring patterns that happen over and over and over. This here would be similar to Bitcoin's first market sequence or fractal when it went from 5 cents to $30. This here would be $2. Well, then it went down to $2. Then from $2 up to $1,150. Then down to $177. This would be $177 to possibly up to $100,000. This is the current fractal that we're in right now. And then at the very end of this slide, we're going to talk about this one. Or I'm sorry, at the very end of this video, we'll talk about the fourth one. So the first market sequence that Bitcoin did, it went from 5 cents in 2010. This is some of the earliest recorded trading history, 5 cents. Went to $7.89 over about 295 days. Came down to $5.97. This was about a week. Then it went up for about a week. Then it went up for parabolic for about 9 or 10 days. Ending on June 9th, 2011, around the $30, $31 area. Took about 321 days. Then it had a 163-day bear market, coming all the way down to $2.05. And where the bear ended, the next bull began. November 18th, 2011. Bitcoin went all the way to 225. Started at 205, went to $225 over about 509 days. Then over 3 months came down to $68. Then a little over 3 months touched its old high again. Then for 2 months went parabolic, ending on November 29th, 2013 at $1,150. And the whole process took about 743 days. Then it had a bear market coming down to about $177, $178. This is actually a typo. This should say January 14th, 2015. That's the 412 days. From this date here, November 29th, 2013, down to January 14th, 2015, that's 412 days. This here would be a lot longer. I think this would be about 600 and some odd days. I'll show you here in a minute. By the time I had made this slide and put it on my PowerPoint, and once I realized this was an error, this slide was already gone. I can take a picture of it, transfer it back over to Paint and redo this, but once I transfer that picture then back over to PowerPoint, it's highly pixelated and the quality is just not there, so I decided not to. But so what we've looked at so far is 1 and 2, and so that's similar to this one and this one. Now we're in this one right now. And so this here now is starting on August 25th, 2015, $177. We went up to $20,089, lasted about 847 days. Then now this was about a year. I anticipate this to be about a year or a little more. And then I'm looking at anywhere from 5 to 6 months. Ending sometime, if it doesn't end, if we don't see 100,000 by May, it could be June, July, August 2020. But I am anticipating it sometime in 2020. And this here is just an average based on the previous two. This one here is it's 2.31 times larger than this one here. And so I anticipate the same. I anticipate this to be about 2.31 times larger than this one here. Doesn't mean it will be, just means that it might be. And so then after we see $100, $110, $120,000 Bitcoin, I'm anticipating about 1,048 day bear market. It could only last 1,000 days. It could be 1,100 days, could be 1,200. It could even be as long as 1,300 days. But I see a long, probably about a 3-year bear market. And if we don't see this price here, it may only go down to 20 or 25,000. We have the halving that's going to happen somewhere in here. So it may throw this number off. I do have another calculation that brings me up to like 37,000 after the halving. I'm sorry, it would only bring us down to 37,000 because of the halving. So it could be anywhere from 15 to 37,000. It could be somewhere in the middle there. So here's the math. We've got, these are all the first all the first bull markets. First one, second one, third one. All we're looking at is these right here, 295, 509, 847, 295, 509, 847. So 847 is 1.7254 times bigger than 509. 509 is 1.7254 times bigger than 295. And 1461 is about 1.7254 times bigger than 847. So this is what I'm expecting for the fourth market sequence. And now these here are all of these numbers right here. So 1721 is 2.315 times bigger than 743. 743 is 2.315 times bigger than 321. So for the fourth market sequence, I'm expecting it to be about 2.315 times bigger than this one here. So this here would be the fourth market sequence. And the bear may be similar. It may not be. We'll get into this here in a few minutes, why I didn't put this here, because this is technically a wave. This is going to be a wave 4, a cycle wave 4 of a longer 10-year cycle. So, but also I did not count from January 15th to 2015 to August 24th, 2015. Let's take a look at that real quick. It throws all my calculations off. So this here is Bitcoin. Today on December 13th, 2019, it's trading for $72.58. This here was technically about the end. $178 on January 14th. Now, there was a flash crash right on this day here, August 24th, where it actually went down to $177. This here is a gray area to me. It throws all the calculations off. It throws the first wave, the second wave. It throws all of that off. If you count this in, $100,000 Bitcoin should have already been here. But if you start here, it shows that there's still some time left. So I don't know how to treat this. This is just a gray area where it just kind of sideways consolidated, then it took off. And gold actually did a similar thing here. This is gold. You can't see it, but it says gold prices, 100-year historical chart. This would be September. This would be January of 1980. Gold traded at like $100 or $850. It did a similar thing. It went all the way down to $298. Then it just kind of sideways consolidated. Then it went down just over a year or two, a couple of years. It flashed down to $256, then went right back up. And then the new bull market began. That $256 price was never reached again. And so gold did a similar thing where it just kind of went sideways for, what was this? From 85 to 98, about 13 years. It just went sideways, quickly went down, then the bull market came up. So don't really know what that is. I'll be looking more into this later on and studying this more on the sideways. It could just be 7.5 months of there wasn't much general interest over the broader spectrum of the whole thing. So I don't really know yet, but actually, let me get my timer up here. So this here is Bitcoin's this is what I see as the fourth market sequence based on all the other market sequences. And so now we're looking at this one here. So if we see, based on the math, 1,048-day bear market starting sometime around May, June, July, August of 2020. Now, if it is August, if it is later, 3 or 4 months later than this here would be 3 or 4 months later. But if it's not, if it's April, May, or June of 2023, and if we don't see the $15,000 price, if we only see maybe 20 or 25,000, then it'll make this number a little higher. This would maybe be $2 million. And if this is later, then this would be later. But this would be the next number in the sequence, 1,461 days. Going from 20,000 up to $1.5 to $2 million sometime in 2027. This could be 2.5, 3 years down. And then, well, actually, it could be anywhere from 1, 2 to 3 years down, 1, 2, 3 years up, and then ending at $10 million sometime in 2034. Now, if America or the whole world sees a large general inflation, larger than usual, 3, 4, 5, 9, 10% a year inflation during the 2020s, then this number would be even higher, but it would be the equivalent of whatever $10 million would buy at the beginning of, if we see larger inflation. And so this here, then the wave 2 is the next sequence in the math, ending us sometime in 2034. So if we see large inflation, however long this is here, I see this being about the same, and then this being a little less than whatever these are. It's usually how it goes. The first market sequence, this was a week, then 10 days. It was actually a little longer. The second one, this was 3 months, then 2 months. Then the third one that we're in right now, this was a year. I see it being the same or more, and then maybe 5 or 6 or 7 months. And so with market sequence number 4, 39, 82 days, ending sometime in 2034. It could come as early as 2032, 2033, 2034. These are just averages, based on averages, but this is what I see happening. And so this would be market sequence number 4 for Bitcoin. Now, if you look at this on a wave theory cycle, with this being 2009, the inception of Bitcoin, being a cycle wave 1 at 100, 110, 120,000, sometime in 2020. From 2009 to 2020, that's about 11 years. If this is 2.5 or 3 years down, that'd be a wave 2, a cycle wave 2, down to $15,000, $20,000, $25,000 sometime in 2023. Then another, if this is 11, then 3, I would expect about a 10 or 11. So if this is 2023, from another 10 years, 10 or 11 years, just like this, about 11 years, that'd bring us into about 2034 at the $10 million. Then I would expect another cycle, wave 4. Now, a wave 2 and a 4, usually if one of them is long and deep, the other one could be short and shallow. So if this one here is the long and deep one, this could possibly be a short and shallow one lasting only a year or two, and possibly not going down very deep. Who knows? Maybe only, I don't know. It could only go down and maybe just getting cut in half. Since this one got cut in 80 or 90% of its value, this here could be maybe only half, maybe only 60%. Then around 2036 or so, if this is 2036 maybe, 2035, 2036, 2037, we would instantly be in a wave 5. And I see Bitcoin then doing well for going on into 2040, 2045. If this is another 9 or 10 years, 8 years maybe, a 3 can usually be the same, or it can be faster, and a 5 can be like lightning. And so I see this could be maybe 2040, 2050, somewhere in between there. But I see Bitcoin having some good years ahead, and so we just have to map it out. And just based on what it's done, this is what I think it'll do. Now, none of this means that I'll be correct. This doesn't mean that around this time it's going to do any of this. These are just averages based on facts. So I don't anticipate to be 100% spot on. I might only be 90% correct. I might only be 50 or 60% correct. We don't know. So take all of this with a grain of salt. These are just averages based on what it's done in the past. And so this would be Bitcoin's 4th market sequence based on history. Only time will tell what'll happen. No guarantees on anything. But that's what I'm looking at right now. So be careful in any investment endeavors that you do. Do your own due diligence, your own research, and only invest based on your opinion of the market. And so that's it for today. If you liked the video, feel free to like, share, comment, and subscribe. I want to thank you for coming over to Blockchain Silver, and remember to stay safe out there.